to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson and Sue Broome here for messages from your loved ones. Today, we are going to just be chatting a little bit while we're waiting for folks to join us. And when we say join us, what that means is if you're watching on Facebook, please put in the messages if there's somebody that you would like to hear from who you have loved and lost before. And I know Sue is sharing out. While she's doing that, I'll just explain how this works. When we receive your message, then Sue takes out the card deck that she made and she listens for or sees which one of the cards pops out, and we share that message, and then we just feel into the energy of your loved one and we see what that message is as well. So we are glad that you're here. And I'm just going to type a little note in for folks to please leave the name of someone they want to hear from.
I shared it on my page.
Okay, excellent.
And I did announce it yesterday on my Facebook Live too, so.
You know, we have had here in Enlightened World Network, we've had several losses in the last couple of weeks. And it's just a tricky time, I think. There's obviously the stuff that's happening. We've got the politics here in the States. We've got weather that seems to be out of control. You know, folks dying in Valencia, Spain, and, you know, here in Florida, and our own weather-related things. And there's just so much emotionally going on for a lot of folks. And then you add if you've got deaths in the family or that kind of thing. And I personally have spoken with folks that are just feeling overwhelmed with all of these different emotions. And it is a tough time for some folks. Sue, have you been in your community at all? Are you having losses or grief coming on?
Not me personally. People I know have a lot of, you know, different people in their realm, but not anybody that I know. But now to add on top of that, with you were talking about the weather with, you know, especially I can't remember, Helene. Helene, is that the one? And then I can't remember what the one was after that, but yeah, the hurricanes, because there's still a lot of people that aren't back to normal. And I have a friend that, yeah, she still won't have water for a while. Running water. She's got water, but not running, you know. So that also takes a toll on top of, if you know people that have left the physical plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot to deal with. And I think, you know, the more people can have support and have someone that they feel that they can talk with, whether it's somebody online or whether they can pick up the phone and call someone, the more that they know that there is support around when they reach out is really a huge thing. Because it's when people start feeling they're totally alone in this. That's, I think, when things start caving in.
Right. One of the things that I've been learning from watching loved ones go through illnesses or, you know, death-related grief, what I'm finding is sometimes folks don't want you to bring it up. They just want to be with you, just want to maybe receive a text, but not a reminder of what it is that they're going through. And I thought that was pretty valuable information, you know.
Is that, would you consider that just meeting them where they are?
Yeah, and who they used to be, you know? Before you were sick, we would just shoot funny little memes to each other, or just say, hey, you want to grab lunch or whatever. And I think I think what I've seen with my own family members is not every conversation has to be, oh yeah, and you're sick, right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and now you've got a doctor's appointment. Oh yeah, what about these side effects? Oh yeah, what about these medications? Well, how about
Yeah.
just having life? How about just enjoying
Mhm.
the moment and getting out of your head a little bit and
Mhm.
not having to remember that you're sick?
Even think about the tone that I'm going to say this. How are you doing today?
Right.
And I know that so many people, when I just got chills on that, people are concerned, but the tone that you say it in is like devastating. So, and every single person is going to be different, whether, do they want people to ask? You got to feel that out, or come right out and ask. It's like, okay, I realize that you're sick. How do you want to approach it? Do you just want to be the one to always bring it up to me? I'm fine with that. If you want me to ask,
Yeah.
maybe you just have to have some honest conversations, which that's kind of scary sometimes.
Right. Well, it's new for you and it's new for them,
Mhm.
right? So just say, this is new for both of us. We
Yeah,
have not had this kind of a relationship before.
yeah,
I want to be there for you. I don't want to hover. I don't want to make you crazy.
yeah,
How do you want this to go?
yeah. And that goes with anything. I mean, that goes with if someone has, maybe it's not a life-threatening illness, but they are acting differently than they used to. And there's some kind of you need to have an understanding about, well, how much do you, like, if someone hurt their leg, and maybe they can't drive for a while, or they can't do the things around the yard that they used to. And you really don't know how it's gonna affect them moving forward, but it's like, what can I do for you? Because you don't want to overstep. Well, let me get that for you because I know it's difficult for you to get up with your walker, your cane, whatever. Help me understand how much you want me to help and how much you just want me to be here to support you as you get up and get it get it yourself, because you have to exercise those muscles or whatever.
Right. Right. It's tricky, it's absolutely tricky. So here was an interesting scenario, different conversation, but what you said just brought it to my mind. A loved one decided they were kind of done. And so not gonna take care of the diabetes, gonna eat whatever they wanted. And in so doing, ended up bedridden, not gonna bother trying to get up on my own. I'm I'm good right here. I'm impacting everybody around me, but I'm good right here. And that giving up that impacts everyone else is so interesting because everybody's on their own timeline as to when they're going to be exiting the planet. But it's kind of interesting when the way that we exit the planet impacts other folks and not necessarily fairly.
So could that interpretation of they're affecting others, is that a judgment on the person that thinks they're being affected?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then,
Absolutely.
being the person that is being affected, what could be done differently, non-judgmentally? am I making sense?
Say it another way.
Okay, let's use you and me as an example.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's easier. Okay, so I am diabetic. I have this diagnosis, and I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm good with eating my bonbons. I got my TV clicker, and I'm gonna just be me. So how am I affecting you? Tell me how I'm affecting you.
If I am the one bringing you food and I'm the one changing you in the bed because you won't get up to use the bathroom,
Okay, are you a paid person or are you my relative or a friend?
I'm your relative,
Okay,
spouse.
so,
I'm your spouse.
okay, you're my spouse. So is that a time when the spouse has to say, Sue, I love you, and I want to also take care of myself. We need to get outside help. If you choose not to do anything, we need to get outside help because it's not good for me doing this. It's not good for our relationship because I'm gonna start feeling, not guilty, but overburdened,
Used.
used.
Yeah.
I can, or I have seen situations where it's like, okay, Sue, because you are unwilling to do things for yourself, and I can't physically do it. As much as I love you, I can't physically do this. Let's look at outside facilities,
Right.
because then it takes the burden off the spouse.
Right. If you're not going to come to the table
Mhm.
and be mobile or whatever it happens to be, this isn't tenable.
Right.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
much as I love you, it's not tenable.
And I think, but it goes back to having that difficult conversation. I do love you. I want the best care for you, and I'm not the person to do that.
Right. Just because I vowed to be your partner in life does not mean I'm a licensed registered nurse who actually knows what they're doing.
I can see where that would be a very, very difficult situation. If like Sue is not willing to, I'm not willing to do anything. I'm not willing to meet you halfway. Like, well, I'm out of here.
Yeah. The difficult conversations, interesting, that's come up twice now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with that scenario too would be, I think there'd be guilt on both. Because the spouse saying, hey, I can't, I mean, hey, I would be the first spouse saying, no, we need to get additional help because I can't do it. I just could not do that.
Yeah.
But had the difficult situation and being able to, I love the word that you used before, the two words, grace and support. Being able to have the grace, but still give the support. I love you, and it's not I love you, but it's
Right.
I love you, and I want to support you. I want to support you where you are. I also need you to support me where I am.
Yeah. Very nice. So this story just came to my mind, true story. My sister used to be a nurse on on a ward in the hospital. And one of the nurses that she worked with had a bedridden husband, sick, right? And the nurse ended up with cancer and didn't tell anybody. And she knew and didn't tell anybody. And what they figured was it was because she didn't think anybody could take care of her husband. So if she was undergoing chemo and whatever else for herself, then no one was taking care of her husband. And it ended up that she went into a coma. That's how they found the cancer. And it was all over. And like in obvious places that she would be feeling it. And everyone felt so betrayed that here she was a nurse and not willing to get the help. But then, there was also the thought of she knows what it's like for folks that are trying to get better from cancer. And maybe she just chose to not do that either. It's just so hard. Everybody has to make their own decision of what's right for them. And what's right for you may not be what's right for me. And if I decide I want to go out and try clinical trials, or I decide I want to go do Eastern medicine kind of things, or I decide I want to do a combination of things with East and West or whatever, I just think everybody has to make their own decision.
It does come down to, yes, you have to make your own decision, and going back to the support. Because going back to the scenario with, okay, I'm sick, I have let's say I have whatever, whole litany of things, and you're my spouse, and you don't agree with the treatment I want to do, what do you do then? And it truly is having a difficult conversation. It's like, well, I don't support you and I love you, or I support what you, yeah. I think support is the biggest thing, supporting them where they are. And it may be difficult for us to do that, because we feel like they need to do something different. And that right there, I could see these things formulating in my brain. It's like, okay, are you choosing not to support them because it's not what you want? Which is very different than I support you in whatever you're going to do because it is your journey. Did that make sense? I feel like what I said, it didn't, but
I think so. I think in that scenario, when you're not supporting that person, it's probably out of fear. Well, what if how you're trying to take care of it doesn't work, and then it's too late, and then there's regrets, and I can't do anything about it. I think it's the fear and the lack of control. In that case, it's probably making someone frustrated with the level of care that their loved one is going for.
what's really interesting is that belief comes into play so much. So if the person that is ill, if their belief is that if I hang on to this crystal and I'm just going to hold on every single day and I'm going to just, meditate with this crystal, belief has so much to do with it that we don't give belief credit for how it's going to affect them. Whatever it is, if people believe I'm going to bless my water, I'm going to say that there's only healing energy in this water, and this is what's going to make, the belief can be so powerful. You might think, well, yeah, That's Sue. She's just crazy. But belief is very powerful. What
I,
is that? Oh,
I,
go ahead.
I, one of my friends was diagnosed with cancer, and I have a game that's called the Transformation Game, and I don't know if you've heard of it. I think it was created, golly, maybe in the 90s. But it's kind of a soul spiritual experience, and you get angels along the way, and look at limiting beliefs and that kind of thing. Hi, Roseanne. Roseanne, if you would like to hear a message from someone you have loved and lost, please put their name there in the Facebook messages. And I heard for this friend to go to that transformation game and pull an angel and see who got pulled. It was the angel of expectancy. And so I sat with that, and then they gave me about 10 things that she could expect. I expect I'm surrounded in love. I expect I'm getting good quality, competent care, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so I wrote those all out for her and sent them to her, and she tells herself those expectations, and it helps her just sort of setting that place of, I don't have to live in fear here.
Mhm.
um so okay, Roseanne Darby would like to hear from her sister Melissa. So Melissa's been in spirit almost 3 years.
Mhm. That's a pretty name, Melissa.
It is.
Well, that came out really quick. Mm. Our soul connection is forever. Mm. What is that word? Our love transcends all time and space. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it feels like the connection that you and your sister have. And there go my chimes. I've been hearing Ruth's.
Mhm.
They go through so many different lifetimes that have been woven together that it's almost as if sometimes you can see the weaving happen, or there's a flash of something, and it may be from this lifetime, it may be from another lifetime, but you can feel it. You can feel the connection, and sometimes it almost feels like it's electric, almost like you could see a bolt of lightning going, up and down, and not a crazy straight, but weaving itself through different lifetimes. And that feels like that's the connection that you have with your sister, Melissa.
I absolutely got many lifetimes. Absolutely. The way that that came into me, Roseanne, was a bouquet of flowers. And each of the flowers had their own intoxicating scent. The point that I stopped and I smelled each one, and each one took me to a different lifetime that you were together. And I could see in each lifetime that there was something that you both worked on together. I do believe we come into this realm with life lessons that we're supposed to have so we can learn particular things. And with these flowers, I'm seeing, oh, that was the lifetime we worked on blah, blah, new smell. Oh, that's the lifetime we worked on this other thing. Oh, and I just see many, many lifetimes together. Really beautiful. And she said that they were very close. And many, many times, Roseanne, you were very close. Yeah.
When I first started, whatever it was that I said, I can't even remember the exact words, but it was the movie with the Superman that died, he became a pillar.
Christopher Reeve?
Yeah, Somewhere in Time. Did you ever see that movie?
I don't know that yeah, I don't know if I did or not.
It was, yeah. Well, and the thing that's really cool is the setting was someplace in, I think it was in UP or upper Wisconsin, and I was there. A friend of mine and I went there and we were biking around it. And it's like Somewhere in Time, that's where it was filmed. It's truly a love story, and that transcends time and space. It's definitely worth a watch. Somewhere in Time.
As strange as it sounds, Roseanne, you don't have to worry that you're never going to be with her again. You don't have to worry that you won't feel that intense love again, because you're going to be together again. And she's not far from you. You guys are connected, no question. Yeah, beautiful. You're lucky. You're lucky to have someone in life that you love so much and felt so much love from. Not everybody can say that. So you're fortunate. It also makes it hurt that much more because you're missing such profound love, but she's still near.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Kirsten Waldron. So Donovan is a friend who passed 30 years, 30 yesterday ago. That's 30,
Oh,
30 years ago yesterday.
yesterday. Is that what you said? 30 years yesterday?
No, she said a friend who passed 30 yesterday ago. So I'm guessing 30 years ago yesterday, maybe?
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, okay.
We've had many lifetimes together. I just have to laugh, Kirsten, because Donovan came in as soon as you typed his name. Strong aftershave, strong cologne. It's like, I'm here. I'm right here. I'm right here. That's fun.
It's funny too, because I think the Somewhere in Time probably applies to Kirsten and Donovan too.
Yes, she said 30 years ago, autocorrect went amiss.
I know, good old Autumn. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to?
No, go ahead. We'll see if I get anything else.
All right, let's see. I listen when you talk with me. So, yeah, this is, there are times when I imagine, I've never actually set up another cup across the table, but I imagine that my mom and I are having tea. She never liked coffee. And even if I'm not imagining that, it's like when I am talking, which I do often to my, to my brothers, to my mom and dad, I talk out loud. I live by myself, of course, so, nobody thinks I'm crazy, but I will talk out loud to them. And I love that. I feel like I listen, but it's the connection that you have. It's like, yes, I am here listening. And it's almost as if the visual that I'm seeing is that if you had your hand sitting on the table, you can tune in and feel him having his hand over the top of yours. I'm listening. I am here with you. And I feel like there's just this intensity that I'm getting. So
I echo the intensity. Not only did Donovan come in with this strong cologne, but an intensity. And I was trying to feel into, was that in this lifetime with you, that it was I'm just getting so masculine, just like over the top masculine to your over the top femininity. And again, I don't know if that was this lifetime or if that's a coming up lifetime or a different lifetime. It's like a movie. I mean, Donovan is almost like a movie character, just so much. That's interesting. I have not felt anyone like Donovan before in the readings that we've done. I don't know, Sue, are you getting the passion and the intensity?
I'm still getting Christopher Reeve from the Somewhere in Time. So what I find interesting is because, usually that clears away, but I'm still feeling it. And there was an intensity, the love was so strong. So I would say yes, but probably in a different way than you're feeling.
And Kirsten wrote, we had a very intense, short relationship in this life.
Might have been short, but it was long lasting.
Yeah. Yep. And I think as Donovan reflects on you from the space that Donovan is in, that's the intensity that Donovan feels about that time with you. Apparently, Donovan also thought it was very intense, because that's what we're getting, is very intense. It's so interesting to me that the personalities that we see, that we lived with, are also the personalities that we see coming through when we're sitting holding space for these things. It's like enough to remind you. You go, oh yeah, that is who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why they do it. So the person, in this case, Kirsten is understanding that, yeah, it's him. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. If anybody else comes on and wants to receive a message, or Roseanne and Kirsten, since you guys are the ones on, if there's anybody else that you wanted to hear from, we would be happy to do that as well.
So before we started getting the first person before, I was thinking it's like, and I wasn't quite getting it, but it was when we were talking about belief. There was a book by Bruce Lipton, and his book was The Biology of Belief, Unleashing, the Power Within or something. And he does a whole book on it. So Bruce Lipton, I don't know exactly, like he did a lot of cellular teaching way back, probably 50 years ago now, because I remember when I first started listening to him, it was 30 years ago when he was at University of Wisconsin, and then he's gone on. I've seen him speak a couple of times and heard he's written tons of books, but Biology of Belief and how important belief truly is in whatever it is you're doing, whether you're working on your health or you're working on something that has nothing to do with that. It's like the biology of belief is very important and makes a huge difference in whatever it is that you're doing.
Well, and just one quick little example of that is when somebody wants to stay alive long enough to get through the next holiday or their next birthday, or whatever it is, and they hang it out there, and that event happens and then they go. So it sort of makes you think, oh, they actually did have some control in timing of things.
Mhm. Yeah, it absolutely, they want to make it through a birthday or an anniversary or, whatever day it is. And we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're still hanging on. It's like, they just, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Kristen says, one more, please. Pansy, her granny.
Pansy, her granny. I have a friend of mine that, after I did a workshop or talk or something at a church I was going to, I had done messages from your loved ones, different ways that you can recognize it. And I talk about numbers a lot because that's how I recognize my loved ones. But I also gave this whole litany of, all different ways. And a friend of mine who was there, she comes up to me afterwards and she said, Sue, I never got the number thing with my mom. But when you were talking about all the other stuff, my mom shows up in pansies.
Oh,
And she would get pictures, like on Facebook, you'd see a pansy coming up in a sidewalk where it's total sidewalk. And then on the crack, there's a pansy coming up. And she goes, and every time now, I know that is my mom.
oh, so sweet. My mother loved pansies also, and it's almost hard to find them at the stores. All of these other newer plants are coming in. But yeah, my mom loved the little ones. I think they were called clown or something, but they had orange and purple and like a couple little black spots or something. Yeah, that always takes me back.
That's funny. All right, let's see. Notice what is right in front of you. I love this.
Like a pansy
Well,
in the sidewalk. Yeah.
and I think what it feels like, and the conversation that we have before, as I'm shuffling and as you're getting your information, it truly, it goes into the message. It truly does. So start noticing, where do you see things? Maybe you are seeing pansies in the most bizarre of places, or maybe you're seeing even sometimes words. Okay, I've never seen anybody name their goldfish Pansy before. That's, or I've never seen anybody name their horse Granny. Even that, because Granny is kind of that special nickname. So notice those things, and it feels like you had a very special relationship. And what I'm seeing is an older lady and a little girl. I don't see like a teenager. I see a little girl who has their mind that is just so open and so in love with this woman who is taking her around and showing her different things, because she didn't teach you things in the way that everybody else is teaching. It's like it was an experience. So you'd go out, you want to see where the eggs come from? Put your hand under that chicken and let's get an egg. Or, things that were truly an experience. Oh, that is so fun.
Shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The first thing that I got was, don't know how large your granny was in real life, but I'm guessing probably not real large, but boy, was she mighty. And I kept hearing her laugh, but it was almost not exactly, but almost like a smoker's laugh, like a little heartier of a laugh. And I saw that she totally delights in you. I saw as the little girl, and totally delighted in you as a little girl. And I saw her put her finger on your nose. Just that close little connection with you, totally delighting in you. Oh my gosh. Okay, Kirsten said she did live on a farm and sent me to gather eggs.
That's funny. So were they warm? Were, did you catch it as it came out? That's funny.
Isn't that something?
Mm. Yeah.
The fun thing for us doing this is we get to feel Donovan and we get to feel Grant, Pansy, and we get to feel Melissa, and it's so sweet for us to get to feel the love that you all shared. Yeah. Okay. Kristen said she was a force to be reckoned with, but in such a kind and gentle way. I get that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mighty. But that laugh is fabulous.
That's funny. Farms are a good place for kids to be able to experience. When I used to go to my cousins, and they didn't have like a farm, they had, and maybe it was only an acre, I don't know. But my cousin and I would go in the garden, and when the peas were ready, we would take the peas and eat them, eating them right off the vine and out of
Yeah.
the pod. Yeah. Kids,
That's,
kids will be kids.
yeah, that's lovely. All right. Thank you, ladies, for sharing this with us today. Sue, do you have any last words for folks today before we say goodbye?
I want to go back to what we were talking about and what you said, and I wrote it down because it was so beautiful, is grace and support wherever they are, and having that grace and being able to support them wherever, and this goes for anything. It's like wherever your friend is, wherever your spouse is, wherever your child is, having the grace and being able to support them, whatever their path is.
Right. The best gift you can give.
Mhm.
Yeah. Grace and support. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Kristen said, thank you so much. It helps me to feel them more closely.
that's beautiful.
That's what it's about right there.
Mhm.
All right, ladies, thank you. And Sue Broome, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you December already.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. December 9.
December 9, same time, same place. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Take good care. God bless. We'll see you all soon. Bye now.